So we're going to start by talking about the free agent market and the Athletics' initial list of the top 40 free agents as compiled by Tim Britton and Aaron Gleeman. Of those 40, of the 40 top free agents that those guys listed at the start of the offseason, 23 of the 40 remain unsigned. That's a majority. And we're sitting here, it's early January. There's plenty of time until spring training, but there is a lot, again, that needs to happen in the next 5 to 6 weeks. So, who are the top remaining free agents? Well, the top three on the Athletics list were Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Nola, and Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Those three are gone. But let's look at the top remaining guys because there are still a number of big-time players left. We can start with Cody Bellinger. He's number 4 on Tim and Aaron's list. Blake Snell, number 5. Jordan Montgomery, number 6. Matt Chapman, number 8. What do these 4 players all have in common, you might ask? They all have the same agent. It's Scott Boras. And Scott Boras routinely proceeds at his own pace in free agency. Sometimes he will sign guys quickly. We've seen that a couple of times with players this offseason. Nick Martinez was one. And sometimes he will wait and let the market come to him or let it develop at its own pace. In the case of Snell and Montgomery, Yamamoto had to go first. In the case of Bellinger and Chapman, to some degree they were related to Ohtani, who was the best position player available on the market. But at the same time, their markets should be pretty clear. And these teams that are interested in those players should be ready to go. Ditto for Snell and Montgomery. So it's just a matter of who is going to get these guys, how the negotiations are going to proceed, and what exactly Boras' strategy will be with these players. Now, I mentioned 23 of the top 40 free agents, according to The Athletic, remain unsigned. Here's another fun fact for you as we assess the market. There are only 3 position players besides Ohtani, 3, that have received contracts of 3 years or more. 3 free agent position players, contracts of 3 years or more. Here they are. Jung-Hoo Lee, 6 years, $113 million with the Giants. Heimer Candelario, 3 years, $45 million with the Reds. Lourdes Gurriel Jr., 3 years, $42 million with the Diamondbacks. Now, you might think that is a really weird, low number, and it is. But it's a reflection of something that, frankly, we haven't talked enough about this offseason, and that is the weakness of this market. For starting pitchers, it's pretty good. For relievers, it's okay. For position players, outside of Ohtani, not so great. And that's why you've seen only 3 of those players so far, 3 of the free agent position players, sign contracts of 3 years or more. We should get a few others. Bellinger will get 3 years or more. Chapman should get 3 years or more. I would think Teo Hernandez might, Jorge Soler might. Both those guys are 31. But this has not been a great free agent market. You've had some really big names at the top, Ohtani and Yamamoto. You've had Aaron Nola, who did really well, and Blake Snell, certainly a 2-time Cy Young Award winner. Jordan Montgomery, a postseason hero for the Texas Rangers. But overall, not a great group. So we're looking at a free agent market that has yet to fully take shape. We're looking at a number of players who are still available in trade, starting pitchers in particular. I'm talking, yes, about Dylan Cease, possibly Corbin Burns, Shane Bieber if he gets moved. The Marlins have starting pitchers to possibly trade. The Mariners have starting pitchers to possibly trade. We have a lot of things still circulating, still in play. Now, how it's all going to develop, I don't know. Will Corbin Burns indeed be traded? I don't know. Dylan Cease, I would say yes. Bieber is a little bit more uncertain, though it certainly is something the Guardians would consider. But overall, again, we're sitting here in early January, and we're not exactly sure about where all these bodies are going to land. We do know a few things, though. We do know that there are still certain teams with huge needs. Glaring needs, I would say. And these are big market teams. I'm not talking about the Pittsburgh Pirates or the Oakland A's who have obvious needs. I'm talking about teams that will spend money, want to spend money, but have yet to fully address what they intended to do this offseason. Let's look at 5 of those teams. This list is not all inclusive. If I'm missing your team, don't have a cow. But these are 5 teams certainly with things to do. The Giants, we'll start with them. I've got listed here starting pitcher, shortstop, right-handed corner infielder, and bullpen. Now, I don't know that they're going to do all of that, but they'll do some of it. Shortstop's interesting with them. Marco Luciano is a top prospect, a guy they like, but I'm not sure they want to play him at that spot, such a pivotal spot, in a year in which they are trying to make a lot of progress. You don't want to necessarily entrust a rookie who is not necessarily a great defender in that particular role. Now, as we continue on in this list, the Red Sox. They've done some things. Yes, they've added Lucas Giolito, subtracted Chris Sale. We'll talk more about that trade later in the program, but they still need a top of the rotation starter. The Yankees still need a starting pitcher. They've got Garrett Cole, but they've got Cortez and Rodon coming off injury-marred seasons. They've got Clark Schmidt, who was a below-average starter. Need a starting pitcher, didn't get Yamamoto. The Cubs have yet to sign a free agent to a major league contract this offseason. A left-handed hitter to replace Bellinger, that's one. Maybe another left-handed hitter in a trade, and maybe a starting pitcher to replace Marcus Stroman. And finally, the Orioles. The Orioles have signed Craig Kimbrell to supplement their bullpen, replace Felix Bautista, who will be out this season after undergoing Tommy John surgery. But the Orioles have still not added the top of the rotation starter that they need. I don't expect them to sign Blake Snell or Jordan Montgomery. Those pitchers are likely going to be beyond where they want to spend. Could they be a player for Dylan Cease? They should be a player for Dylan Cease. Perhaps one of the Seattle starters, perhaps one of the Miami starters, but the Orioles need someone on top of Bradish and Rodriguez. At the very least, they need to replace Kyle Gibson's 192 innings. So, to sum it all up, I'm going back to where I was at the beginning of the program here. There is a lot that needs to get done. A lot we'll be talking about in the weeks ahead on fair territory, on foul territory. There's just a lot that needs to be resolved.